Hi everyone, this is Mindy Eggen and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be stenciling on die cuts using the new Create Friendship bundle from Gina K Designs. Now, if you attended a class with Gina and Jennifer at the Simon Says Stamp Create event, this may look familiar, but if not, it is now available to everyone over on the Gina K Designs website. So the Create Friendship bundle includes a stamp set, coordinating stencil, and also dies. I'm going to be creating my card using the dies and the stencil. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm taking the die that's going to cut out the image and also the butterfly. And I'm die cutting these both from Layering Weight White Cardstock from Gina K Designs. Then I'm going to be using this sticky mat from My Sweet Petunia. It is just a sticky surface that's going to hold my die in place while I'm ink blending. So I just place my die cut piece there right onto the sticky mat. And now I have the stencils. So there are 3 layers to the stencil. I'm going to start with the first layer, which is the most open area of the 3 flowers, or actually it's 3 flowers and a flower bud. Now there are also some little areas for the smaller flowers or the center of the smaller flowers. I'm going to take some Post-it tape and mask that off. I don't want to do those centers just yet. Then I can start working on my ink blending. So right now my die cut is held down on that sticky mat, and the sticky mat is also holding that stencil in place. The color that I'm starting out with is powder blue. So it is a really nice light blue. All these colors are from Gina K Designs, and I'm using a mini blending brush to just lightly add a layer of color to the flowers. I don't want to go too heavy-handed. What I want to do is add dimension by just adding more color or a darker color. So this is just really light-handed. I'm not applying a lot of pressure using my blending brush. Now, while I still have this layer of the stencil in place, I'm going to come in with blue denim. Now for this, I'm going really careful right in the center of each of the flowers and blending out towards the edge of the petals, but I'm not blending all the way to the edge. I want to keep that highlight area. So the centers are going to be darker and it's going to fade off into that lighter color as I get towards the edge. I'm also going to add a little bit of color to that bud that is off on the side, and then I can peel back my stencil. Next, I'm going to do the leaves. So I lined this up over my image. Now, keep in mind, when I'm lining this up, there is going to be a small white border that's going to go around the image. Now, the first color I'm starting off with is Sweet Corn ink. So this is a nice light yellow, and I'm going to cover all the open areas of the leaves with that light yellow. Next, I'm coming in with Fresh Asparagus. So this one, I'm starting at the base of the leaves and blending out towards the edge of the leaves. I'm trying very hard to leave a little bit of that yellow. So it's going to have kind of almost a glowing effect to it. And I love having 2-tone leaves where it's a yellow and that dark green. I can peel back that layer of the stencil and bring in my third layer. So this one has 2 additional small flowers that go around this bouquet. For these, I'm going to use that sweet corn ink on both of those flowers. So adding that nice light yellow glow. And then to kind of add some contrast to this, I'm going to be bringing in Prickly Pear. And this is such an amazing color for adding contrast. I'm also going to be coloring in the centers of the flowers. I did it with the sweet corn, but I decided that I'm going to add the prickly pear so it stands out a little bit more. Now for those smaller flowers, I'm just going on one side of the flower so you can really tell the difference between the light side and the dark side. Now I can peel back this layer of the stencil, and remember the first one I brought in before, I had masked off some areas. I'm going to bring that first stencil back in, line it up over the image, and I'm going to go back over the center of those flowers with the prickly pear. Only those 2 yellow flowers are the ones that I'm worried about. I don't want the prickly pear to get into my blue. So just real careful with that mini blending brush, ink blend in the center of the flowers. Now to remove this from my sticky sheet, I'm just going to kind of bend this in half, and it's going to just peel right off. So I have my flower bouquet done, but there's also some butterflies that I really wanted to play with. I didn't end up using them on my card today, but I am going to show you the process that I did for these. So here I die cut out 3 of them from the Layering Weight White Cardstock from Gina K Designs. I'm going to start with the most open area of the stencil, so that's going to give me the full coverage of the wings. And I'm going to start with that powder blue ink. So with a larger blending brush, I'm just going to cover that area. Now I'm going to be working on all three of these at the same time. Before I move my stencil, I'm coming in with that blue denim, starting in the center and just kind of rounding those parts of the wings that are close to the center to try and give it that, just adding more contrast to it. Then I'm taking a towel and I'm just wiping away that dark blue ink because I'm going to pick this up and move it over to the next butterfly. And I really wanted to kind of start fresh without really getting my stencil wet or cleaning it. Wiping it down is going to be enough so that I can come in with that light blue ink and then adding that detail with the blue denim. And I'll repeat that same step for the butterfly down below. So I have the base done for all three of my butterflies. Then I'm going to move on to the next layer of the wings. So it's going to be adding some detail to the outer edges. For this one, I'm starting out with that dark blue ink right away, which is the blue denim. I'm going to cover the whole area with that darker color, and then I'm going to just pick that up and move it on to the next butterflies. So I'll continue that, just adding that blue denim to all the butterflies. Now that that's done, I'm going to move on to the third layer of the butterfly. This one is going to add a little bit more detail towards the inner part or the inside part of the butterfly. And it actually kind of fits in like a puzzle to the other pieces or the other areas that we stenciled in. So I started out with the blue denim, but then I'm going to come in with slate. And this is a really dark color, so I'm being very, very light-handed, just kind of starting in the middle of the body and blending out, but not the whole way. So I still have areas of blue there. Then I'm going to go in and repeat that step for the other two butterflies. I do recommend wiping off your stencil because it helps see things a little bit better. The last piece of the butterfly is the body and the antenna. So this one I'm lining up over the center of the butterfly and just matching it up with the die underneath, or the die cut underneath, and then I'm coming in with slate. This one also you really want to wipe away because it's a lot easier to see through the stencil to the fine areas of the die cut underneath. So definitely wipe that down, and then you can pick that up and move it to your next butterfly. So here I have all three of those butterflies done. They are absolutely gorgeous, and there are so many color possibilities that you can do with these. So I am going to just save these for right now for a future project. I decided I was going to make a shaker card for my floral bouquet. So here I have an oval from the Oval Shakers die set that I'm die cutting out of some white cardstock. I'm holding it down with Post-it tape and just running that through my Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cut machine. Now I'm taking some double-sided tape and I'm going to place that all around the edges on the back of my oval window. I'll just go ahead and remove that backing with my craft pick, and then I have a piece of acetate that I cut just a little bit smaller than my card front, which this card front is measuring 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. To create the well for my shaker, I am going to be using some foam tape, and what I'll need to do is run this all around the back of my card on top of that acetate. You want to make sure when you're doing this that your foam tape is butted up right next to the other piece. That way none of your shaker bits will fall out. Then once I have that lined up, I'm going to go through and remove the backing of this. And for the inside of my shaker, I have found that the Disco Ball Sequins mix from Gina is amazing for shaker cards. So I have a little tray here filled with them, and I'm going to just place those inside of my well. I'm making sure they're not stacked up because I don't want them to get stacked on top of each other, and then they wouldn't be able to shake. So I'm kind of spreading those out a little bit with my finger. Then I have another piece of white cardstock that I'm going to place over that and just push down to secure it in place. Now this cardstock measures just a little bit smaller than the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I can flip it over and check out how my shaker bits are moving, which they are moving really nice. And I'm going to go ahead and attach this to a card front right away because I do have some foam tape exposed on the back there because my back panel was trimmed smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this with a tape runner to a side folding card base and then just press down to secure that in place. Before I attach my floral bouquet to the front of the card, I did die cut out another piece using white cardstock, and I'm going to just put down some liquid glue and attach these two together. It's going to help kind of stabilize my die cut piece and also build up a little bit of dimension. So I did add 2 pieces behind my floral bouquet, and then I can attach this to the front of the card. And I'll just hold it down for a minute or so to make sure that it is secure down on the front of the card. Now I just need a sentiment. So the sentiment that I chose is going to be coming off of this Positive Greetings stamp set. It has all these beautiful scripty words and coordinating dies to die cut them out. So I picked out the word fabulous, and I do have kind of a smaller sub-sentiment that I'm going to be using as well. I placed those in my Misti tool and I picked them up with the door of the Misti. I pressed my finger over them and really rubbed that down to help condition the stamps. I usually will recommend cleaning it first, and I should have practiced what I preach because there was like dog hair or fuzz or something on that smaller stamp at the top, and it wasn't stamping very good because of that. So I flipped my cardstock, I cleaned it with my tidy towel, and then I'm coming in and I'm inking these up with the black Onyx ink. So I stamped it twice. It comes out absolutely gorgeous, and I love the font on these sentiments. So now once these are stamped, I'm going to line up the coordinating die for the word fabulous, which I am so thrilled there's coordinating dies for all of those larger words. And I'm going to run that through my die cut machine. And I also die cut the word fabulous, we'll use the coordinating die anyway, to cut out 2 or 3 more layers and layer that together with the liquid glue. Once again, adds stability and also a little bit of dimension. So kind of my new favorite way because I really do like to have a sturdy sentiment. Then I'll just add liquid glue behind that and attach it to the front of the card. Now I had I had trimmed out that smaller sentiment to a thin strip. I was planning on putting that above the word fabulous, but honestly, I just really loved how the word fabulous really kind of stood out in a subtle way from the flowers. So I decided to just leave it and go with the word fabulous. Now, one more thing I'm doing here is just taking a white Jelly Roll pen and I'm adding little details to the leaves. I thought about doing it to the flowers, but I didn't want to overdo it. So I'm just adding it to one side of each of the leaves. And I just couldn't resist adding more of those disco ball sequins to the front of the card because they're so shiny. So I put some in a triangle tray, which makes it easier for me to kind of sort through and pick the size I want. I arrange them on the front of the card, and once I'm happy with the arrangement, then I come in and add dabs of that Connect glue and use my pick and stick tool to attach those down. And then that's going to finish up my card project for today. So it is a shaker card. It is gorgeous. I really love this new stamp, stencil, and die set. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I will have all of my supplies listed down below in the video description and over on my blog as well. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you again real soon.